The Jets debacle probably top of mind, but I think we start with some of the positives. The Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield. What's the biggest story? When you think about Cleveland getting to 9-3, Stefanski coming over, and he's right in the middle of that conversation for Coach of the Year. What's the biggest story out of Cleveland right now in your eyes?
To me, it's Kevin Stefanski, and I think he's done a great job not trying to micromanage Baker Mayfield. He really opened up the offense. We know that they can run the ball with their 1-2 punch at running back, but getting Baker Mayfield to throw the ball down the field, be aggressive, and not just be a game manager. And I love the fact that Baker's aggressive. He's showing a lot of confidence. He's into it. He's running down the field. He's cheering his guys on. I think it's awesome, man. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is going to be the Baker Mayfield that we're going to see the next month of the year of the season, but it's just really encouraging to be able to see him go out there and play and not really have any limits.
When he plays like this, people believe in him. Like, teammates believe in him. He's got that energy, that edge about him, and he always has had it. It's just when he's been regressing a bit on the field, the belief has lingered with it. I can't help but think how much better he's looked since Odell Beckham Jr. has not been on the field, though. He looks so much more confident with Jarvis Landry as his number one. He looks more like a leader. He doesn't look like he has to force the ball to anybody or if there's an ego battle on the sideline. It looks like he's the man. He's the leader of the team. Jarvis buys totally into that because I think he believes that's what's going to help them win, and it all trickles down from there. I do want to go Coach of the Year right now, though. If you had the vote, would you give it to Stefanski, or where would you lean right now with this whole debate? Because that's going to be coming down the stretch these last few weeks of the season.
I tell you, Jack, that's an awesome question because at first, before, I'm thinking maybe Mike Tomlin because they're undefeated. But what Kevin Stefanski has done with this team, and think about all the distractions that we heard about last year coming out of there, all the unrest and, the back and forth and the coach and just everything that was going on. You don't hear any of that. Like Kevin Stefanski, he's come in and he's really solidified that team, the organization. Guys are playing hard. They're focused. It's not guys pointing fingers, blaming people in the media. Of course, winning helps that, but it's the leadership that Kevin Stefanski has provided. And I think right now he should be Coach of the Year.
I think I'm with you on that. Just given the history of, and from Baker Mayfield's standpoint too, there has been a million quarterbacks going there. Top draft pick, guys that have had all-world success in college, and everyone just goes, he's going to be the guy that's going to fix Cleveland. He's going to be the guy that fixes Cleveland. And one after another, nobody's been able to do it. And it goes for the coaches, too. I mean, it's just been a carousel of every coach you can throw into that role, and everybody has failed, except for these two. And I think it gives you an idea of how hard it is. When you saw Freddie Kitchens, this was a good team last year. This was a good roster last year. And it didn't work. It didn't work at all. Stefanski comes over, and for it to work this quickly, to just snap the fingers, turn the lights on, and go, this guy knows what he's doing. He knew what he was doing before he got to Cleveland, and he's showing that he knows what to do when he's not only an offensive coordinator but the boss man as well.
And it's a different confidence that you see from Baker Mayfield. Before, it was a confidence that he knew that he had confidence because of what he's accomplished in the past. Now he has confidence knowing that, I can still have that success on this level. And he feels like that he can play against anyone. And that's what they're going to need, especially with their schedule coming due. They got to play Baltimore, the Giants, Jets, and Pittsburgh. So I love the fact that Baker Mayfield, he was aggressive in the first half. He threw a lot of yards, 4 touchdowns, and the key, Jack, no interceptions. No one's going to say that his passing rating is going to be 154.6 in the future, but if he can continue not to turn the ball over, inspire his teammates, continue to hustle, and be that cheerleader. You talked about Jarvis Landry. I had an opportunity to interview him when he was down in Miami, and I tell you, he's a football player. If you get a chance to spend some time with him, he loves football. He talks football. He breathes it. He's an ultimate team player. He is awesome. And you made an excellent point about Odell Beckham. I think when you do have a star receiver like Odell, these guys want numbers. They want to be able to put up numbers. And if they look up and Julio Jones and all these other guys, Devontae Adams, all these catches, he's looking like, man, I need my catches. So he gets an attitude. And you're right. Since Odell, he's gone, it just seems like Baker is at, such peace, and he's just very confident right now.
It is. This is the Aaron Rodgers version of Baker Mayfield. This is the Drew Brees version. He's taking easy completions, but he's also fitting them into some really tight spots.
Yes.
Where it's just an unbelievable Baker throw. And you're going, wow. And he's 75%, and he's completing 3/4 of his passes with drops. I mean, when you go back and watch that game, there's multiple drops where Baker put it right on a receiver, and he dropped it. So that could have been even higher than where it was. And here's what I like, too. He's starting to get that attitude back about him, that edge, a little bit of that humor to him. The real, authentic Baker Mayfield. I think that's what works for him. Let's hear from Baker after the win yesterday.
What's different about you now as opposed to a month ago, last year, whatever? Is it something looks different? What's different?
Whenever I'm about to do something, I think, would an idiot do that? And if they would, then I don't do that.
and he's back having fun with the media. You know what? I always like Baker, man, because I like that competitiveness, and he's just a little cocky little dude, and I love it. I mean, I don't want my quarterback being timid. I want my quarterback to have confidence. And Baker was tremendous once he got outside the pocket. He kept his vision down the field. Like you said, he put some beautiful passes down the field, right in the receiver's hands. A couple times they dropped it. But like I said before, I love the competitiveness. Look at him. He's having fun. This is what football is supposed to be about. It's not about losing. It's about having fun and winning ball games, and they definitely have the talent to play with anybody.
It's an interesting debate because we got into this debate a little bit in a production meeting recently. Can you be a great quarterback in the NFL without being somewhat cocky, without having that confidence about yourself? Like, can you think of anyone? Maybe Eli Manning, he's the only one, but I think he has that confidence underneath, and he sort of levels it out just given that he was in the same family with Cooper and with Peyton, who are such big personalities that he sort of took that back seat. Can you think of a great quarterback that didn't have that, edge and confidence and cockiness about him?
Not at all, because I think of guys that I played with, like some of the older guys that are Hall of Famers, like Dan Marino, John Elway, Joe Montana, Steve Young, all those guys. Those guys, even if they weren't like outwardly cocky, they had that quiet confidence, and you saw it. And when we speak about confidence or even cockiness, what quarterback presently comes to mind in your head?
It's not cocky, you're saying?
No, that's cocky. That shows it outwardly. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers, of course. No, Aaron Rodgers top of that list. Like I think it's all of them though. Even Mahomes. Mahomes is not like outwardly cocky about it, but you can just tell when you watch him on the football field, he believes there's no better player in the world than Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And he carries himself that way. And the players around him believe it. Like when you act like that and then you prove it, they believe it. And that's how teams, in my opinion, become great teams. That's the difference between good teams and great teams, is the ones that truly believe that with a minute 30 on the clock and a couple timeouts, every time they are going down the field and they're going to win it. And those are the great quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers has that attitude like, I guarantee it. Mahomes has that attitude like, I guarantee it. And those are the guys, in my opinion, and those are the two MVPs. Those guys are going back and forth in the MVP race right now. It's the arm, it's the confidence, it's the cockiness, it's all of the above. And I don't think there's anything bad about it. Sometimes the word cocky gets misconstrued a little bit, but you got to believe it, man. You're going out there in front of the world throwing the football around in holes that are, so tight sometimes, like you could nobody could fit it in there except for Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, and they believe that.
I was thinking about the Cleveland Browns, and I was thinking about Nick Chubb and just how impressed I am as far as the quality of running back that he is. The vision, the toughness, the power, the speed, the vision, all those different things. And I started thinking, like, I know Derrick Henry, he intimidates people, but I'm almost thinking that, is Nick Chubb better than Derrick Henry because he can do more? And, Derrick is a big guy, and he intimidates people, and he wears them down. But when I look at as far as the quality of running back, I'm starting to think that Nick Chubb might be the best running back in the NFL.
I think he's right up there. He's up there with 1, 2, 3s in that spot for sure. Defensively,
right,
too, maybe this Browns defense is getting slept on a little bit because Baker and the success that he's having. But Myles Garrett, Sheldon Richardson, there's some stars starting to develop. And in the secondary, too. Who do you like most on this Browns D?
I like the way they play together. It's not like guys are trying to outdo one another or trying to be the headlines. Myles Garrett, he's unbelievable. But what I like is the way their safeties and their secondary and their linebackers, they did an excellent job of tackling big Derrick Henry in the open field. They came up, they hit his legs, they wrapped him, they brought him down, and you didn't see all those missed tackles like you saw when they played against the Indianapolis Colts.
Let's spin it to the New York Giants. The Giants go to Seattle, and just like everybody was thinking, knock off the Seahawks. It makes absolutely no sense. They're playing with Colt McCoy as a backup quarterback. I feel like most casual football fans are like, wait, Colt McCoy's still in the NFL? Yeah, he is. He's still in the NFL. Plays for the Giants, backup quarterback. And he just played okay. It wasn't like he came in there and lit the Seahawks on fire. They had no receiver above 35 receiving yards. But they ran the ball all over the Seahawks defense, and really got in Russell Wilson's face. I've rarely do you see Russell Wilson look this uncomfortable escaping and scrambling. They sacked him 5 times, and a lot of them were deep sacks. How did they go in there and pull this off over Seattle?
Well, you think about Joe Judge, of course, coming from the Belichick era, and just a lot of disciplined rushes and just getting after him. They just played physical. They got after him. Leonard Williams, 2.5 sacks. He was outstanding. I love what Blake Martinez did. He's all over the field, sideline from sideline, making tackles. Jabril Peppers has made some plays, shown some great leadership. And the thing about the Giants is they have the front four where they don't have to blitz. So if you don't have to blitz to create pressure, now you can keep your safeties back, you can protect your corners, and now you can react. And these guys are just flying around playing great communication in terms of defense, and they're just playing and having fun. And Joe Judge has those guys disciplined. I like what I see from them.
And for Russell Wilson, this was just one of those off kind of games. He fumbled a snap that they ended up losing, threw an interception, missed some open throws. Even at times, DK Metcalf and Russell looked like they weren't on the same page, which is a really rare thing to see. And then towards the end of the game, he threw one directly to a Giants defender that was dropped. Let's hear from Russell Wilson on what went wrong yesterday.
I think the reality of this story was we weren't able to capitalize on opportunities, I always talk about them, game-altering plays. We didn't have those plays, unfortunately, today. Like we feel like we've had, for the most part all season. We've done a great job of those, and those just didn't show up as much today. Unfortunately, and they stopped us on some key situations. Situational football, they stopped us. So, and then they score, right afterwards. So, I think that's where it was.
When I watch Russ have a bad game, it seems to me like he just holds the football forever. When it doesn't go right for Seattle, he's just holding that thing, and he runs left and he runs right. And the Giants were so patient with the way that they pass rushed him. It was like we're not trying to get him back where he is standing right now. We're trying to get him as soon as he decides he wants to run. It's like they were just so patient, holding those tackles. Okay, wait. Now's our moment. And they were just waiting right there in that full contain, and they got him time after time.
Russ is a great player. Most great players want to, they feel like if they can hold on to the ball, they can make the play. And that's, you hit it right on the head. That's what he's doing. He's holding on to the ball because, and I think he's buying into that whole let Russ cook and everything, because when he drops back, there are guys open in the short zone. There are guys open, but he doesn't want to pass to them. He wants the big play, and they're not getting the big play. The longest play was like 28 yards, and that was to a running back. So to me, it feels weird to say this, but it seems like Seattle is still trying to find their identity. And Russell Wilson is a great player, but at the end of the day, if you're holding on to the ball, the way these defenses are playing with their speed and athleticism, all the defensive ends and things like that, you can't hold on to the ball like that, especially going into these winter months when the weather starts to change. You see rain, sleet, snow, cold, all those different factors that really affect the game.
It's a good point. This is when they're going to miss the run game that they had so many years in the past, these last few years. It's when they're going to really miss establishing that. And then, you mentioned let Russ cook. They let Russ cook in the second half when they needed it, when they need him in those moments, and he would go do it. But now he's become the main chunk of the pie with regard to this offense, and the running game has sort of disappeared. Speaking of the run game, Wayne Gallman Jr. for the Giants. Remember him back from Clemson, the great Clemson running back? He had some monster years at Clemson. He used to score like 1 million touchdowns in a season. He reemerges with the Giants, and he went off yesterday. He really did.
Man, I was so pumped for this young man because when you see him run, He runs like almost like Ricky Waters. Maybe that's a little before your day, but Ricky Waters used to run with a lot of energy, high knees, running people over, getting up, throwing the ball down, celebrating with his teammates. He runs with a lot of positive energy. So I love to see Wayne Gallman. People's like, man, why are you talking about the Giants? They beat you in the Super Bowl. Man, you got to give respect and love where it's due. They deserve it. Now, my biggest question with the Giants, before they were just kind of, just teetering along. Now they're getting a lot of attention. Now we're starting to talk about them. How will they respond? Will they continue to grind and put on their blinders, or are they going to start feeling good about themselves and start, reading all the headlines?
Well, we will find out. We will truly find out about that one. Speaking of headlines, the New York Jets, at the end of the game yesterday, Greg Williams, they go cover 0, all-out blitz in basically a Hail Mary situation. And it's one of the most peculiar play calls that I've seen in this lifetime. It totally burns them. They lose the game. It's wide open. Really back-to-back plays at the end of that game where they had wide open receivers running down the middle of the field. Carr misses the first one. The second one bangs it for a touchdown. Tell you what, that play call, that situation, what's your take?
I tell you that, like, from this standpoint, I played on a team that went 1-15. And we were 0-12. I think this was it 2000? I think we were 0-12, and we played against the Kansas City Chiefs, ironically. And we won that game, and we celebrated because we didn't want to go down as that team, 0-16. We celebrated like we won the Super Bowl. And to me, I look at Adam Gase. You're the head coach. And I was raised partly with Bill Belichick, and as the head coach has final say over every single call. And I even asked Coach Dungy, I said, are you listening to the defensive call in a critical moment like that? He says, well, if I'm not, I do one thing. I'm going to call timeout, bring everybody together, communicate with the defensive coordinator, and figure out what we're going to do. And if I would have known that he would have called an all-out blitz, maybe I would have checked. Like, this is what teams practice every single week. You practice this, especially with the Patriots. You're going to practice this almost every day, situational football. You're going to practice it on Friday, the Hail Mary. You're going to practice it last play on Saturday. You're going to walk through these things. So it's not new to you. It's not foreign to you. And for a head coach not to know what coverage they're going to be in, he deserves to be fired because he's crappy. Greg Williams, defensive coordinator, he deserves to be fired, like I said last night. And if I'm Trevor Lawrence, why the heck would I want to go to a franchise with Adam Gase? Why would I want to do something like that? If I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm sitting back saying, you know what? If the Jets draft me, I'm not going. I'm sitting out a year. If Adam Gase is the head coach.
That's a whole nother conversation. I would say first and foremost, if Adam Gase is still the head coach, that's a whole can of worms right there. That would be shocking to me. Shocking to me. Now, Trevor Lawrence not coming out this year, that would not be shocking to me whatsoever. Clemson in general is different. That place keeps assistant coaches for decades. Great assistant coaches that have head coaching opportunities. They stick around. Dabo Swinney creates a culture down there that people want to be a part of. Think about Travis Etienne. He could have came out this year. He would have been a high draft pick, all of those things.
Yes.
He chooses to go. I mean, think about the shelf life for running backs. It's only 4 or 5 years that these NFL teams really are willing to pay and put resources into it, and then they're redrafting or going younger or going cheaper or going to free agency. And he wanted to go back to Clemson and chase another championship. That gives you some idea what the culture is. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a different cat. I think this is an Andrew Luck kind of guy. And I would not be surprised whatsoever if he decides, I don't want to be a New York Jet.
And to me, it just seemed like when he made that call, because I really could not believe he made that call. Like, I'm like, you have to be joking. Like, you're showing the world that you want to lose. You don't want to win. Like, when the quarterback sees those linebackers and creeping up, he knows what's coming. And even Carr said, I was surprised. How could they blitz in a situation like that? Like, even if you rush 3, Jack, and you drop 8 guys, and you get 8 guys, all you do is protect the sideline, you protect the end zone. If they catch the ball inbounds and you make the tackle, the game is over. But it seemed like they were trying to lose for that number 1 pick, and I cannot respect that. I cannot respect. Guys, this is professional football. You get paid a lot of money to keep the opposing guy from getting in the end zone. And to me, this was sick. This was disgusting. And if I was the owner of the Jets, I would have fired Adam Gase. I would have fired defense coordinator Greg Williams. I would have got rid of both of those guys.
Well, the thing with Greg Williams is, this is who Greg Williams has been his whole career. I mean, he's out of his mind. The guy loves to bring, his favorite play is the engage 8. If any Madden players out there, it's just what he loves to do. He loves to hit quarterbacks. He loves to get in their face with pressure. It just is what he does. And late game situation, it doesn't matter. He is just known as the blitzer. Lamar Jackson, though, and you're going to do a double take when I say Lamar Jackson, but that was the cornerback that's covering at that very last play. It's a Hail Mary situation. All you got to do is get deep in a hurry. And he bites on the double move. He bit on it. Like, what are you doing biting on the double move and running towards the sideline? It was just a layup. That's way too easy for Carr and the Raiders.
But, Jack, what you're describing, Jack, is bad coaching. Even technique, the mindset. Like, you go over these plays, and even as a safety, if I'm Marcus May, I'm saying, look, guys, we're staying deep. And if something were to happen like that, I'm looking at my defensive coordinator. I said, blitz? No, we can't blitz here. This is the last play of the game. We cannot blitz here. Coach, can I get a timeout? Let's talk about this. See, me as a captain, I would have went over there and talked to my head coach, my defensive coordinator, and said, are you sure this is what you want to do? And even if he would have said, yes, this is what I want to do, I would have told my corners, don't fall for any double moves. They have to score if they want to win this game. Sit back, 20, 25 yards, but don't go for the double move. But that's coaching. Lack of leadership in the secondary. Think about if Jamal Adams was there. Think about Jamal Adams and that strong personality. There's no way he would have let that ride. He was like, no, we're not doing this. Nope, check 2. He would have checked, went into a different, but that's what you're missing when you don't have that leadership on the defense.
I bet Jamal's awful happy he's not there right now, if I had to guess.
Amen.
He's not a part of that. Yeah. He's probably very happy that he's not there. But, yeah, just a very strange finish to that game, and you're thinking the Jets are finally going to pull one off. But this is getting ugly for the Raiders now, too. Like, we have seen some of the worst versions of the Raiders these last handful of weeks. What's your take on where they're going? Are the Raiders real or are the Raiders not? At times they look like they can hang with the Chiefs, and you go, oh, this is one of the real rising, emerging teams in the NFL. And they look like they can't beat the Jets, or they get stomped out and shut out, and you can't figure out where in between this team might fall.
Well, I mean, everybody has injuries. Obviously, Jonathan Abram and Josh Jacobs, they missed. The offensive line seems like they're tired. It just seems like the Raiders are tired. You think about everything that they put into beating Kansas City early in the year, the second game that they played against Kansas City. It just seems like maybe coach needs to kind of ease up on practice or something, because they don't look fresh. They don't look excited to play football. Darren Waller had a heck of a game. He had 200 yards receiving. He was all over the place, and finally they get him back involved with no Josh Jacobs. But they have a lot of young players, and a lot of times young players in a long NFL season, and it's real, they hit that rookie wall. And whether it's a rookie, first year, second year, especially with everything that's going on with this COVID and everything that, people had to go through this year, you get tired, man. You wear down mentally, and that's what it seems like the Raiders are doing.
It's an interesting point. And Gruden's really an old school style of coach and a new school style of football. So I would guess that winding, that grinding on the players throughout the course of the season is very real. Sean Payton, he may classify as a bit of an old school style coach as well. He is a new school style quarterback right now, though. Taysom Hill has stepped in, and he hid very well throughout the course of the season leading up to Taysom taking over as the starter. The fact that he could throw the ball. I mean, even when they would bring him into the game, it was a straight, almost like a wildcat style of offense. Even if they had an open receiver, Taysom wasn't throwing the ball. Over about 2 or 3 weeks, though, he's starting to look like Drew Brees back there from the pocket. He is hitting everybody all over the field, getting it done there. And then when he takes off and runs, he looks like this top shelf of athletes playing the quarterback position in the NFL right now.
Man, Jack, you just summed it up, man. And I tell you, man, even if Drew Brees comes back, if I'm a defense, I'm almost looking relieved, like, okay, Drew, we don't have to worry about hitting Taysom. We don't have to worry about the play breaking down, off-schedule plays, and him making plays. So to me, Drew is the better quarterback, but Taysom is the more dangerous weapon. Like, just think about all the factors from a defensive standpoint. Oh, okay, when they go in this set, we have to worry about this. The quarterback sneak, the design quarterback run. So as a defense, your preparation is going to lead you to have to worry about everything, whether it's RPOs, play action pass down the field, quarterback design keeps, all those different things. As a defense, you have to worry about. With Drew, you worry about his experience. You worry about his accuracy. You worry about just the maturity and him seeing the entire field. But I tell you, Taysom has been wonderful, Jack. And this is my last point with Taysom. Think about how difficult it is for a guy like him to play 4 or 5 different positions, whether it's tight end, fullback, wide receiver, on the special teams, doing all the different things that he does. And then he comes in and he has to lead a team as a quarterback. Not as an option quarterback, but as a drop-back quarterback. Like, to me, that's one of the most amazing things I've seen this year. Like, this is on the highest level. This is a guy that's playing 4 or 5 positions on the highest level that you can play football. 2,000 NFL players, roughly, and he's playing 4 or 5 positions. You tell me any other guy that can do that National Football League. Taysom Hill is special.
There's nobody. There's nobody that can do that. I don't. It's not even specific to this time frame. I can't remember in the last 10, 15 years anybody that's been able to do that. You correct me if I'm wrong there. I mean, this is one of the most unique football players in the history of the game
I've ever seen.
And the fact that he can now do it from the pocket. I mean, so Drew Brees, I'm with you. The experience, all those things, the accuracy, but that arm does not have the same rocket fuel that it once did. And so you'll see Drew Brees have a receiver about 25 yards down the field that's open, and he's just dinking and dunking to Kamara at all times. When you watch that game yesterday, Kamara's wide open. That little dink and dunk, it is wide open, just like it's always been with Brees. But Taysom doesn't care. He's stepping into a throw, and he's putting it 25 yards down the field on a P for a first down. It's a different element of this offense that they have been lacking to start this year. So I want to make sure I'm hearing you right a little bit here, Rodney. Are you saying that when Brees comes back healthy, is there a decision to be made for the home stretch?
I know no, I'm not saying that because I already know where Sean Payton stands in this. I mean, he and Drew Brees have a relationship, and he's going to give Drew Brees this last and final shot, no doubt about it, if he's healthy. But what I'm saying is, as a defensive player, there are strengths and there's weaknesses to both of these guys. And I just see probably more weakness in terms of, just making big plays with Drew Brees. You talked about it. Like, defenses, they're giving Drew Brees that deep throw, daring him to throw that ball down deep because now they're saying, okay, we're going to just focus on Kamara, come up and make the tackle. Whereas Taysom Hill, they're like, okay, we're going to give up the little dump-offs, and we're going to make sure that we stay disciplined on the back end of the defense because we know that this kid can throw the ball 60 yards down the field. So anytime you play against one or the other, you have to adjust your thinking as far as how you want to play those guys.
And injuries have really made this team, this Saints team, a lot better. Because when they lost Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith had to step up and be the #1 wide receiver. And slowly but surely, he proved that he is a good wide receiver in the NFL, too. Now Michael Thomas comes back. He's a beast. We all know what Michael Thomas is. Now he's playing like that. Has a little chemistry already going with Taysom Hill, too. Traquan Smith is a great #2 receiver. Emmanuel Sanders is a #3 receiver. I mean, come on now. He was awesome for San Francisco down the home stretch. He's the #3 receiver. Jared Cook, tight end, very underrated guy. Kamara coming out of the backfield. And now you got to think about Brees, if he's the ace, like you're saying. Taysom Hill comes into the game, and you can't treat him like a wildcat quarterback anymore because he can throw the ball. I mean, this is going to be a lot to worry about trying to stop the New Orleans Saints, and it's all going to be new and fresh come playoff time. That's going to be a lot to think about.
Yeah, and you know what? And guess what Sean Payton's going to do? He's going to continue to incorporate Taysom Hill, allow him to come in and make plays because he knows how it affects a defense. I mean, look at the guy. He's a smart kid. No interceptions, rush yards, 83 yards rushing. So you add him on the equation as far as Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara, they're having a lot of success running the football. So now you're saying, okay, we got to load up the box, stop Taysom, stop these guys, and now you have one-on-one opportunities, and that's exactly what you want with Michael Thomas. You want one-on-one opportunities, and who's going to stop him? I mean, this guy has 100-plus catches every year.
Nobody's going to stop him. He's too physical. He plays angry, does all of those things. And then you have Taysom throwing the ball, and Taysom takes off and runs. And he's built like a fullback. And he runs like a receiver, and he throws like a quarterback. He's like the most, you just can't wrap your head around him. Let's hear from Taysom Hill. This man's undefeated right now as a starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Here he was after another win.
I don't care as much as, people might think about statistics and, all this stuff. I care about winning football games. I know there have been a lot of conversations about and getting your first touchdown completion. But as long as we're winning football games, I'm happy. So I was certainly happy about it because I knew it was going to help us win. And I was happy for Traquan, and he ran a great route. And Coach, that was a late ad in the week. And, it's one of those things that makes Coach Payton.
Jack, how could you not like that guy? Just the humility, all the success that he's having. And he says, I don't care about all that. All I care about is winning. And you're Sean Payton. And you know that Drew Brees this year, maybe next year, whenever he decides to walk away, you know that you have this young man who's playing extremely well in your offense, but you know this is the type of leader, this is the type of personality that you have at your starting quarterback position. So those guys are looking at him like, we'll run through a brick wall because they see how tough he is. They see how unselfish he is. They see how he sacrifices so much, and he's all about the team. So this is one of my favorite players in the National Football League. Him, Jamal Adams, Aaron Donald. I just love the personality of these guys because it's more about the team and less about themselves.
Amen. Let's move from one backup quarterback having success to another. We may be talking about two new starting quarterbacks at this point. Let's get to Jalen Hurts. Hurts comes in for Wentz, and I want to start with the sound. We have Wentz, we have Doug Peterson, the head coach, on why they benched Wentz. Won't get into that decision, and then ultimately Jalen Hurts. Let's hear from them first, then we'll discuss.
At the time, I just felt like where we were as an offense, we needed a spark. We needed something to kind of go our way, and so I decided to put Jalen in the game.
I'm not the type to worry about and look over my shoulder or any of those things. I think at the end of the day, I can play better. We can, as a team and as an offense especially, play better. There's always going to be different things going on in the building or different, chatter and all of that stuff. That's part of this business. And, that's what, I think I've said it a couple times. That's what I signed up for. The scrutiny, the challenges, the adversity, all of it. I got to handle it all, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Who's going to start a quarterback for you against the Saints?
You guys are listening. You got to let me get through this game. You just heard me say we needed a spark in this game to try to get some things going. I've got to get through injuries. I got to get through the tape. There's a lot of things that I'm gonna consider and evaluate before anything's decided.
So basically, Doug Peterson is saying, I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to have some conversations with the ownership and the general manager, and we're going to figure out who's going to be the starting quarterback. But to me, as a coach, I wouldn't hesitate to put Jalen Hurts. He looked more poised. He looked more confident. He looked more athletic. And he just was younger. He's fresh and just like, this guy, he had an accomplished college career. He's gone through some adversity, so he's mentally tough. He's always been a humble kid. Jack, I don't know about you, bro, but I would not hesitate to put Jalen Hurts in. And I'm not saying he's going to go out there and throw for 300 and some yards, but he's going to provide you with that spark. And now you get a chance to see, what is my second-round pick doing? Like, what are the things that we can do with him and build around him? You wouldn't have drafted him so high if you didn't believe in him, so give him an opportunity. And Doug Peterson has to go in there as the head coach and demand that respect and say, you know what? I'm a head coach. I feel like this guy gives us the best opportunity to play. And I thought he made some nice passes yesterday.
I agree with you. And it wasn't like Wentz was awful. He didn't throw 4 interceptions or do something like that. He just didn't do anything good. He's just so bland. 6 of 15. The Eagles paid him way before they had to. They could have waited a couple more years and seen if it was real. If it was real what they had with Carson Wentz. It was ultimately Foles that carried them home in that Super Bowl run. And I understand Wentz played really well to get him to that position. 6 of 15, 79 yards is what he had. No picks. So I think you ride the hot hand here, and I see a lot of similarities between this situation and the Taysom Hill situation. Because when Hurts was picked, a lot of people said, "Oh, he's a runner, and they're going to bring him in and they'll do wildcat type stuff." In both of those quarterbacks, Hurts and Taysom Hill have proven quickly that that's not what they are when they've gotten their chance to step in and be a pocket passer. They've both proven that no, they can throw too, and that's what the NFL is now. Who can run and who can throw too? It's the combo. It's not one or the other. It's the combo. And both those guys are showing signs of having the combo. And I think you got to taper the expectations a little bit. You know, we've seen backup quarterbacks come in, it's a spark, and then it's harder when they start and their game plan for and all those things. So taper the expectations. But Wentz hasn't showed you enough to go, we got to double down on what he's doing. So I'm with you. I think you ride the hot hand until it's not hot anymore.
Bro, I look at Carson Wentz and I see, and everybody, I mean, it's noted he holds on to the ball too long and all those different things, but a lot of times he's just throwing the ball. He just and throws it, and he's throwing it, and he's praying, like, and it's just bad. It's like, okay, where is he throwing the ball to? And like, this is the guy you gave $100 and something million guaranteed to. But when I look at Jalen Hurts, he came in and he gave him it just the freshness, the speed, he saw the pocket break down. He scrambled to the left. He scrambled to the right. He made a couple yards here and there. I just think that they need to give him opportunity, and I say this every single week when I talk about Jalen Hurts. Not as an option quarterback. Give him normal plays. And then in the offseason, you go out there, you get some, you draft some young guys, you get them some weapons, and you continue to build and work on that offensive line. But here and now, this is an opportunity for you to, even if Jalen Hurts doesn't play great, you get a chance to see how he handles adversity. And to me, that's one of the most important things when you're trying to evaluate players.
He had two beautiful throws in that game. I'm thinking about that deep one down the left sideline, and then again when he's scrambling to the right, he's on the move and puts one right in the end zone, perfectly placed. Speaking of perfectly placed, Aaron Rodgers, he seems to me right now like he is just sick of everything. He's sick of Jordan Love. He's sick of the scrutiny. He's sick of sharing commercials with Patrick Mahomes. He's sick of people acting like Patrick Mahomes invented the no-look pass. He's sick of all of it. He just looks angry. He looks so mad to me, and it's translating into just perfect game after perfect game after perfect game. He's not making mistakes. When I say not making mistakes, I'm not talking about interceptions. He's not throwing incompletions. He's just like everything he does, he hits. It's crazy what he's doing right now. And all of a sudden, this MVP race is going from Mahomes to Rodgers, and it's starting to level out a little bit, especially with Mahomes struggling a little bit last night on Sunday Night Football. What say you, Rod?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers has been great, and Devontae Adams, he's having a heck of a year. But, you know, what I said a couple weeks ago and even last week is this offense, you know, Aaron Jones needs to be the focal point of this offense. And you saw that basically the game-winning run. I mean, that was huge for him. And to be able to just flip the ball out there to Devontae Adams and know that he's going to use his size, his strength against a smaller defensive back. Man, those are just almost like little catch and runs. And you know he's going to get 5 to 7 yards every time he does it. But, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he's confident. He's playing on a different level right now. But he's motivated because he wants to prove to all the haters that he can still play. And all this talk, like you just talked about, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Like he's saying, look, Patrick Mahomes was in high school when I was doing what I was doing. He was in grade school when I was winning a Super Bowl. So don't forget about Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I agree with you. He's right there in the MVP race.
That's right. And Mahomes is all of a sudden starting to get all those same compliments and conversations that Rodgers used to get, got his whole career. You know, we used to talk about Rodgers like that. It was like he was the wonder child. Now Mahomes is the wonder child. You know what I'm saying? There's been a little changing of the tides there, and I think he wants to reestablish that. I also think quarterbacks of that caliber, when they get to this point in their career, they start thinking, man, it's been a long time since I won a championship.
Yeah.
A long time since I brought a Super Bowl back here, and he wants to go out with one more. And this might be the year. This might be the year they make a deep, deep push into the playoffs, maybe make it to a Super Bowl. Go ahead.
The only thing I would say, offensively, I believe that they can play with anyone. You know, offensively, I don't worry about Aaron Rodgers. Like we talked about Drew Brees, the same thing applies with him, but a stronger arm, great vision, and the ability to run and escape. My question is that defense. Are you sold on that defense? Because I'm not. I'm not sold on that defense. I think they're still soft up front. I think they get inconsistent pressure. Preston Williams, he's up and down. Preston Smith, he's up and down. Zadarius Smith, he's their guy. But Preston Smith, he's not playing on the same level that he played on last year. So I'm just a little hesitant when it comes to their defense right now.
I agree. And Preston Smith, though, had a big game on Sunday Night Football against the Bears a week ago. And he had been, I think he's had some inconsistencies with effort and practice and those things. And it has been a point of emphasis from the coaching staff, I'll put it that way. And he's been responding to that. Now, how responsive will he be down the home stretch? It's a really good point. That probably is a deciding factor of how far this team can go.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.